thought I could use testing a theory on this, since it sounds completely different than what we've done. Uh, could I use my value information as power to help with this?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Take a threat. I will keep it.
Right, Captain, are you wanting to try to roll, or are you just gonna let Kane do all the work?
School can do all the work unless you like accept Khan come at it from a different angle.
You know what? I will, because you could also learn something different by using con. So yes, I will.
The 3 said, huh?
Yes.
I will spend the 2 momentum and give you a threat. Horse.
Okay, so we'll start with Kane. I'm going to send you this information because this is Roleplay Central time.
Oh, hold up before you. I was gonna ask if I could call back from a person world to gain a determination from the episode Deadly Intentions. Using the value good mysteries irresistible. She was used that to kind of figure out why the children are getting sick, and I feel like I just could be applying the way that trying to figure out what's going on here in terms for why are these Dazakin vessels are seamlessly attacking freighters that are kind of doing random different courses.
Yeah, I think I'll allow it.
And I like to spend that determination on, let's say, value or good mystery is irresistible. To reroll the complication and 2 other dice. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, don't start speaking until I give the captain their information. All right. Kane, I believe you got 2 momentum out of yours. Captain, you ultimately got also 5, correct?
Correct.
So there's the momentum gained. And you're looking at it from a con perspective.
Yes, navigation stuff.
Where is there you are. All right, Kane, you could probably start speaking yours because I think this built on the captain stuff will build on yours.
Captain, look at this. It looks like these coordinates appear to be the same locations that the comm signals have been originating from.
I should mention that there are dozens of these comm coordinates now as you're peering through the data.
To add a flourish, Kane will, just pull up the locations of the comm signals and overlay them over the coordinates they just pulled.
I believe you're right. Potentially these could be communication relays. We might be able to triangulate where these signals are coming from.
Yeah, and what's the nearest location?
Probably within 2 light years of your current location.
Kane will double tap that to zoom in.
And you zoom in.
Oh, Captain, this is the closest one. No guarantee, but we could try to tap into those if it's communications relays. Not only would that give us the ability to read the messages en route, maybe messages that are stored, even though I think they'll probably delete those. To your point, though, next time a message comes through, we may be able to determine its source.
TM, didn't we already decrypt some of their communication codes? Like, yeah, like an active listen, Alam. Like from the comm badge that's implanted the Orion.
I believe we had a passive set up to let us know if
Yeah.
he started communicating on his little wrist thing.
Yeah, it was set up for that.
Okay.
To track his.
Get to work on it, Commander.
I had to remember what you're talking about.
You got it, Captain. We'll prepare what we can and get everything ready if we do have to tap into anything.
All right. And then as that's going on, Mihawk and Gardner, you are trying. What were you guys working on, really quick?
We were going down to Cargo Bay 1, and we were going to scan and transport the freighter's cargo over so it could be inspected.
Okay, so you guys left. I will send you information that you could bring in when it becomes relevant. I believe Rix entered the scene, so I'll go ahead and have Rix enter. You probably overlooked / overheard their communication just now, Rix, and have at it.
Excuse me, Commander, Captain. Captain, I'd like a word, please.
Excuse me, Commander Kale. Does this need to be in private?
I believe Commander Kane is aware of the situation.
All right.
Captain, I have a security worry about our Orion friend. I understand you put him into quarters under guard. but we have, as of yet, not disabled his subdermal communicator. I wish to protest in that it be disabled as soon as possible, or even removed from him.
Your concerns are
Suppose
noted by your being as is.
Captain, it could pose a potent security risk if he continues to have this technology at his whim.
Yes, and I have an active monitor on any communications that he may be using with the communicator.
By the time he uses it, it might be too late. Whatever he said to you, we can't trust any of these people that are...
No, I don't trust. I don't trust Kale. But I'm also
Well,
using him.
make sure he doesn't use you.
Oh, I'm aware of the game. But your security concerns are noted.
I have an update regarding the Nausicaans. I have sought the assistance of Councillor Duncan to see if we can find any amenable party among the Nausicaans that are willing to talk. However, as of yet, most of them are, well, to put it in this way, very loyal to each other, or at least to themselves. Strangely so for a Nausicaan who'd do anything for a profit, even when we offered some. They seem to, Councillor Duncan expressed worry that they might feel that someone is coming for them, or at least something will happen soon that will have them a chance to escape. Rest assured, I've made security precautions and made sure that the cells are backed up with power and proofed. However, I thought it might be worth to mention to you.
It is in line what we've discovered so far.
What is that exactly? It seems like we haven't had a proper update on everything that's going on so far.
I plan to hold a staff meeting later on. For right now, I'm trying to collect all the evidence that we possibly can as quickly as possible, so we're not caught with our pants down.
Understood, Captain. I'll be having both my eyes on the Nausicaans in the meanwhile.
Understood. Have Counselor Duncan do a full psych eval on the Nausicaans. Let's see if exactly their mindset is. And if it can't get anyone to talk, have you ever heard of Prisoner's Dilemma?
Out of character, I'm sure Rix would have. I haven't as a player.
Basic prisoner's dilemma. Everybody, the prisoners, if they don't cooperate, everybody gets like a 5-year sentence. And then if somebody does cooperate, then they're let go while the other person is punished twice as hard. So they get a 10-year sentence. So it breaks the cooperation between the prisoners and incentivizes someone to defect.
Okay.
Yep.
I am aware, sir.
Inform
We
them
shall,
that they'll be serving a maximum sentence at a female penal colony. see what
Let's
happens.
just
What they
scare
say
them up
then.
a little bit. Understood, sir. I'll relay the verdict. Request to be dismissed, sir.
You're dismissed.
And Rix exits.
All right, Mohawks, now's a dandy time to report your info.
Captain, this is Mahawk. Are you there?
Go ahead.
Mr. Gardner and I have finished our scan of the freighter. There is no cargo in its cargo bays.
Was there anything found on the Nausicaan vessel?
It has not been similarly searched, but I did bring what I found in my cursory search to your attention immediately.
Namish said, double check the Nausicaan vessel, see if the cargo was transported there. Otherwise, we're going to be looking for another vessel up there that has
Right away,
the
Cap.
freighter's cargo. Thank you, Commander.
Right away, Captain. Mr. Garner, please direct your scans towards the Nausicaan vessel as best you can.
All right, I'll give you the information now, but I'll let you know when to relay it, just to show a little bit passage of time between the scans.
Understood.
All right, so we got to stick with Kane here. The captain gave you an order. What are you guys doing?
Attempting to tap into the communication relay network.
Okay. Okay, so I'm thinking first to try to get locked in. This is probably going to be a control engineer. No, this has got to be daring engineering. And we'll call the initial difficulty 2, assisted by the ship's communications engineering.
Okay. It's going to be a stretch, but can I use testing a theory for this? Under the idea that cracking the encryption on the pad is going to be similar to cracking the encryption for the relay network.
I will say yes.
Awesome. First bonus D20.
Now, I can't tell you why that's a yes, but it's a yes.
Okay. All right. So daring engineering, computer systems for a focus, or no?
This would be communications.
Gotcha. Okay. So you said difficulty was it 2?
Yes. This is
and then-
just to make the initial connection to the relay network.
Gotcha.
If you succeed at this, then you'll tell me what you're actually doing in there.
Gotcha. And then comp range was?
Just normal.
Okay. Yep. Sorry, I was reading through my talents. Cool.
All right. You're in. You're able to connect with the relay network. what are you going to do in it? Or what are you wanting to do while you're there?
Hmm.
We're
well-
essentially.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Captain.
You go ahead if you have a better one. Go ahead.
No. I mean, I was gonna execute the order you gave, which was attempt to locate where the communications into the relay network are originating from.
Okay. This is going to be. You said you're trying to say that again, just so I got it clear, because I'm like looking at like 9 things right now.
Yeah, we're attempting. I had first order of business, execute captain's orders, look for the origination of the messages coming into the relay network.
Okay. This will be a control engineering. So it'll be a difficulty 3, but the complication range is 5. And for here on out, every roll that involves this system is a complication 5.
Gotcha.
There's reasons for that, but I gotta keep that one secret.
Yeah, gonna take some stabs in the dark. Since I'm trying to locate a series of coordinates, and that's effectively what I did before, would you allow testing a theory?
Yeah, I think so. I think you could probably use testing a theory from here on out.
Okay, awesome. And then
because you're
yeah.
you're very much like testing what your thoughts are. So I think you're testing testing a theory applies from here on out.
Perfect.
Until I say it doesn't.
Okay, perfect. Computer systems for focus.
No, this is communications.
Gotcha. Is it a complication range 5? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And the ship assist will always assist with communications engineering.
Gotcha. May I ask if it's complication range 5 because it's alien technology?
No.
Damn it. Okay.
Good ask though, but no. There's something else.
Yeah. I was gonna try to finally use that xenotechnology. Okay. One threat, 2 momentum. I think the threat is free due to testing a theory. Or I'll pay for it if that's not correct.
Yeah, I think the first one's free, right? When you do first one's free. So then to turn on bold, you just got to give me a threat and a momentum.
Gotcha.
So then you could roll the 4.
Yeah. Ooh, okay.
All right, just need the ship.
No complication. I'll roll the ship. Communications engineering.
Yep.
Okay. And 5.
Mostly because you're doing all of this. Whoa, go ship. You're doing all of this through the comm system, so that's why the ship is using that. 7 successes total. 1. Looks like you got 2 float right now. Okay. So you're using it to try to trace the signal, correct?
Correct.
All right, let me give you that info. Make sure it's correct. There is more information you can learn if you ask the right questions.
Okay, I'll attempt to, being out last session. Okay. Huh. So before I start asking questions, could I use one or two of the floats to reduce the complication range? Or is it like a set 5 for the complication?
If you tell me what trait you're trying to create to make that lower.
Okay. I don't know. Well, let me ask it this way. Could Kane determine the reason why it was so difficult as he was trying to probe the system initially? Like, I want to be cognizant that you can't give away too much information. So I can't really say, like, he wants to make it easier for himself to keep poking around in the system since I don't know the reason for the complication, I guess.
Well, so you're I'll just put it this way. You're trying to hack into a communications network, correct?
Correct.
If you were trying to remain hidden, how would you do that?
Yeah, it would be basically a series of trying not to put too much load on the system, to where it's not noticeable that somebody is probably taxing the system by using it a lot. That with a combination of finding if there's a logging system present in the communications network for access or for usage, and then basically deleting those logs or scrubbing those logs to where there's no trace.
Okay, I will take 2 to lower the complication range by 1.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll pay for that. Not sure how long we're going to be in here. So to role play this, Kane will say, Captain, looking through the system, obviously the communications are going through multiple relays, but it looks like they all pass through this specific region of space each time they do it. And then, yeah, he'll zoom in on that region of space.
And the area that is pointed to is an area about roughly 5 light years from your current location, but it creates like a 2 by 3 light year area.
Let's pull up the star chart here and see if we can figure out what systems are in this area. Computer, what sort of star systems and or known stations in that area?
Computer will respond, there are 3 known star systems, no M-class planets, no known star bases or star systems, or yeah, star bases or outposts in the area.
It said no known habitable or no class. planet.
No M class planets, and I could, and if you clarify that, it will say no habitable, and no known star bases or outposts.
Captain, I would offer some speculation. Could be a central relay point that all the messages just have to pass through. Or in addition to that, it could be a central monitoring point where whoever is directing this activity could be directing it from.
Well, the only way to find out, I guess, is to go there. Give her, Commander.
Thank you, Captain.
And she gets up and leaves engineering.
GM, before we switch scenes, wouldn't mind taking a look maybe at the frequency of those communications. Like how often they occur, kind of like metadata essentially, like the times, cadences. So he would download that to the terminal. And then,
So what exactly are you trying to find out? Because, like I said, there's information that you can learn by asking the right questions.
oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, he was again just wanting to kind of store some of the metadata for later analyses, right? When they were sent, like the cadences that they were sent, right? Whether it's one every day or several a day, just kind of basic surrounding data. Have I cracked the system enough to actually see the messages or no?
I could give you a roll to try to do that.
Okay.
All right, so this will be a difficulty 2, but with the comp 4.
Okay. Daring engineering?
Yes.
Cool. Would you allow testing a theory on this one?
Yeah.
Okay. And then computer systems or no?
Nope. All communications.
All right. Prior cadence or prior patterns worked out pretty well for me. So 1 threat, 2 momentum. And then
Just because the first one's free, it's just 1 each.
Yep. You can only reroll one of those, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we just need the ship.
Cool. I can roll for the ship. 4. Damn it.
All right, you gained a momentum. All right, so what you were trying to find out was exactly what some of the messages were, if
Yes.
memory serves me. Okay.
Yep.
I'll send you that information. Getting my information together. And then I got to type one more deal. All right, captain went to the bridge, correct? Or where was the
Correct.
captain going?
The bridge.
Okay, so we'll head to the bridge. Mahawk, this will be a dandy time for your second bit of info. Rix, where were you heading?
He's probably just gonna go back to the brig, and stay on guard. Brig and cargo
Okay.
bay. Do a little patrol duty, basically.
All right.
Cargo Bay 1 to bridge.
Go ahead.
Captain, we've completed our scan of the Nausicaan vessel. The missing items, we presume, are in the cargo bay of the Nausicaan raider. Would you like us to begin beaming it over for inspection?
Yes. Just analyze what's there. Make sure nothing
We'll
is
bring it over
hazardous.
piece by piece. Understood. Cargo Bay 1 out. Cargo Bay 1 to Commander Rix.
Rix here, go ahead.
We have located the missing cargo from the freighter on the Nausicaan raider. We are about to begin bringing it over one piece at a time. Would you like to be present for its inspection?
Yes, sir. I'll be there with a security team.
Understood. Cargo Bay 1 out.
Rix gets a few officers and then heads to the cargo bay where there aren't prisoners.
Trying to draw that one. Kane, you could report your findings.
Happy tap. Kane to Captain Kier.
Go ahead.
Captain, I found a few other things while you were on your way up. Looks like the signatures for the communications matches 3 previous unexplained ship destructions in the sector. Code contains a unique identifier. Phantom's Touch? There Additionally, it looked like there were many other messages sent to what appears to me to be the Nausicaan ship. Looks like the last communications from the relay network.
Good work.
Thank you, ma'am. And out.
Captain, anything you want to do on the bridge before I head down to the cargo bays?
Helm, what's the current position of the TNM in?
Tiananmen's roughly 12.5 light years away, Captain. Heading back to the colony.
Understood. Maintain standard operating procedure right now.
Aye, Captain.
You can switch to someone else, but probably gonna look to see if I can't find someone to offload our Nausicans to.
Yeah, you could probably recall the Tiananmen if you wish.
Oh, they're a little fair pen. I was trying to find someone a bit closer.
That's probably the closest ship out here. You know, still not many ships.
Any Klingon ships in the area?
Give me a presence command. We'll call it a difficulty 3 to try to find one.
Take a threat.
Captain, you're checking the reports for Klingon vessels nearby, and you do notice one roughly 4.5 light years away.
Does the ship have a name?
Oh, now I gotta. 1 second. IKS Keltok.
Apps, open up a communications to call talk.
Channel open, Captain. This is Captain Kargan.
Captain Ruliak here of the Federation starship Akatsuki. I was hoping you could aid us in something.
What can I do for you?
Well, recently this region of space has been plagued by Gnostican pirates attacking various merchant vessels. Currently, I have a cargo bay hold full of Gnostican prisoners. I was hoping if you could take them and rendezvous with another Federation starship, the Tina Min, and to essentially prisoner transfer. I will make it worth your while.
As luck would have it, Captain, I am doing a bit of pirate hunting myself. These Nausicaan ships, although not worthy foes, they are challenging enough to keep my crew sharp. Give me a presence command, just a diff 2.
Persuasion for focus.
Yep.
Take a threat.
You know, I'd be happy to take these Nausicaans off your hands. But, did you say favor or... But, you said something about making it worth my while.
Yes. And... well, I don't have much to offer right now. But if I happen to see any more Nausicaan pirates, I'd be more than happy to give you a signal so you can sharpen your blades a bit.
I think we have a deal, Captain. Changing course. We'll send you the rendezvous coordinates.
Understood. Thank you. Akatsuki out.
Coordinates received, Captain.
Once we're done with the offloading of the cargo, apparently in a course to the rendezvous point.
I
Bridge
get
to Commander Rooks.
Go ahead, Birch.
Twitter, I have found someone to offload our Nausicaan prisoners to. Clean out vessel will be taking them off our hands and transfer them to the Tina Mid.
I see. Well, I make sure
Shady.
to prepare the prisoners for transfer.
Just from our little chat earlier. I think they'll find it quite surprising.
I'll run it by Councillor Duncan and we'll make the offer. Right now I'm assisting with the cargo. I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Understood. Bridge out.
All right. Anything else on the bridge before I head to cargo bay?
I had the 2 float, I think, from the room.
Yes.
That heat. Can I add that to the Klingon ship as ample space?
Yes. Klingons don't necessarily take prisoners. Yeah, that's not a problem. All right, we'll head to Cargo Bay. I'll draw this box over here to be Cargo Bay 2, since 1 is occupied. I believe, Mahawk, you and Gardner just beamed aboard the medical equipment from the Nausicaan ship.
Mm-hmm. And as I said before, we were beaming over individual pieces one by one, making sure to scan each one as and before we beamed it over.
Yep, there's nothing nefarious about the cargo.
Okay.
You know, they're not booby-trapped, if that's what you're asking.
Hey, have to be sure.
So Gardner says, Commander, we've completed transport. Scans check out. Ready for inspection.
Then, Lieutenant Commander, I leave it to you.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna hint to the 2 security officers I have with me. Whoever they are. We're going to very carefully open up each of them and inspect the contents.
All right.
Lieutenant Commander Rix, before I depart, I have a question for you.
Yes, Commander.
I saw when I was reviewing your record you practice martial arts. Is this something you still do?
Of course.
Ah. Then at some point in the future, when we both have some free time, I would like to take you up on sparring, if you would. I have not had the chance to practice in a few years, and could stand to refresh my skills if you are up for it.
Well, I suppose I could use a sparring partner. I'll take you up on your offer, Commander.
Very well. I leave you to your inspection.
Yes, sir. I'll let you know what we'll find.
Thank you. And I will make my way out and back to the bridge.
Let me see who are among my crew here again. See who I'm directing.
Let's see. We could throw Theric in there. He's already paid for this particular adventure.
Yeah, sure. Theric, you take that one. Belarus, you take that one.
Right. Rix, you and your team start going through all the boxes, opening up and inventorying the cargo. And every single one of them is a very advanced, very sophisticated medical containment device. Or, medical containment thing. Some big, some small.
Lieutenant Commander Rix to Dr. Valen.
Go ahead, Commander.
I'm in need of your consultation in Cargo Bay 2.
Is someone bleeding?
No, we've been over equipment from the Nausicaa Raider, believed to have originated from the freighter we picked up.
Ah.
It's some sort of medical instrumentation. I'd like your input on it.
On my way.
Do all of them contain the same type of equipment, or are there different kinds of equipment?
They're different kinds. Some larger, some smaller. but best you can tell, they look to be medical containment.
Okay.
Federation medical containment, like they are,
Right.
you know. Grab the wrong token.
Are they Starfleet or just Federation in general?
Probably just
Can I tell
Federation
that?
general,
Okay.
like they are used civilianly as well.
Yeah.
Walk in, stroll up next to Lieutenant Commander.
Fire away, Doctor.
Well, let's see what we have then. All right. So, I guess I will start with the largest box on my left here. And do you want me to just run a scan or make a medicine roll or something, or?
It depends what you're trying to find out.
Oh, I'm identifying it.
There's no role for that. You instantly recognize these as medical containment systems. Typically used for containing specimens, containing, possibly for uses in mixing drugs together. Like they're multi-purpose, but they're top of the line stuff, like the newest stuff, the stuff that just came out.
I
So,
passed
Doctor, what is this?
medical stasis units for the most part. I think I have one or two of these similar devices up in the sick bay. All
What are they
very
used
recent,
for?
containing things of a medical nature. That one over there looks to be sample storage. This could be hold just about anything they put in it. I saw chemical storage over on one of the other boxes on this scan. It's all just storage units for long-term containment.
Such as
It
drugs?
could be anything. Drugs, um, specimens, diseases,
You can stop there, Doctor. I believe we have
medicines.
come
Anything
to the
could go into these.
conclusion of what. I believe I know what these have. The purpose of these are.
I want to make one last look over the inventory that's in front of me and see if any of the containment units have been specialized.
Give me an insight. Insight or reason medicine. Difficulty of 2.
Okay. Can I use my applied research talent here?
Let's see.
Once per scene, when you attempt a task which relates to information you received earlier in that scene from an obtained information question, the first bonus die you purchase is free.
We'll give it to you, yes.
All right.
Because I didn't give you a roll last time. I'll give you it to it. I'll give you that here.
Okay. Then I will take one die. And I have a myriad of focuses related to medicine, or any of these might apply.
I think so, because I could see your use in any of these requiring these machines. So like you could use infectious diseases because you'd use them. Research because you'd use them.
Okay. All right, so use my one free die and a focus.
Jesus. So you're at 3 float.
The doctor definitely doctors.
All right, I believe that's the question to your main inquiry, and then you have 3 float to ask any questions you wish.
All right. I'll use one of the float to ask another question. Have any of them been modified specifically to contain medications or drugs, chemical compounds, that kind of thing?
I will take it. I'm just typing it out.
Yeah, that's fine.
Almost spelt it right. There you go. Down to 2 float.
Like each and every one of them?
Yes.
Okay, for another momentum, can I tell what kind of chemicals they might have been tuned for?
I don't think you could figure that out from here. Yeah, I will say that they've been configured for chemical compounds, but they're still, what are they trying to store? That's the big question. That you can't figure out with them empty.
Was I muted when I said that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I have one float left.
Yes.
Okay. For one more moment, or one of the bonus momentum, can I tell, is there like a specific maker's mark on how these were modified? Like bomb makers all have a signature? Or is there like some kind of fabrication label saying these were made in this planet by this company, da 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 da?
Yeah,
I'm either
yeah.
looking
You
for a
could.
point of origin, or if I could like recognize a specific kind of aftermarket modification.
Hmm. That is a good question. I will take it though. I think that's the answer to your question.
Okay. Oh, finish my little browse through the containment units.
Well,
Walk up
Doctor,
to
what do you
Rex.
have for me?
Well, and I'll hand over a pad. They all came from the same manufacturing point, although they've all been modified after purchase. These aren't standard modifications to contain some unknown chemical type. I haven't been able to figure that out from just a preliminary search and scan.
Are you able to identify who made the customizations?
No, it's not a set of customizations I'm familiar with, other than the general purpose of what they're from. Their chemical containment.
Well, we know that they were picked up at Starbase 362, where the civilian freighter was originally coming from.
Hmm.
It's possible we could retrace their steps, see if we can find a cargo manifest for where these came from. Although it's probably been,
Modified.
well, hidden at the very least. Whoever did this wants to stay hidden.
You know, it occurs to me. We have recently made a friend with a lot of connections. He might be able to trace these down for us.
Way ahead of you, Doctor.
Very well. Is there anything else you needed me for, Commander?
Not if you're able to suss anything else out of these machines. I do not believe so.
Not without a lot more time and research.
Then I'll leave you to your other duties, Doctor. Thank you.
Very well. I'll be in sickbay if you need me.
Lieutenant Rix to Commander Mahawk.
Go ahead, Commander.
I believe we've identified the cargo. Some sort of advanced medical equipment used for long-term storage, possibly manufacturing. I believe, speculating out of my own guesses and from what we've encountered so far, that these devices were meant to be delivered for the drug manufacturing that we've previously heard about. Unfortunately, it's going to be difficult to ascertain where these devices were sourced from. They have been sourced from a legitimate company,
Manufacturer?
but then customized after the fact. Possible
When
we
you
could
say they
trace
were
it down if we retrace our steps along the freighter's route. However, I believe that might end us up in a, well, someone's trying to hide this.
Clearly.
They're probably doing it well.
Yes, if I recall correctly, I believe I remember hearing that the ship's manifest did not match what was in the cargo holds. And tracking it down will be difficult.
Yes, safe to say that similar measures have been taken. However, this presents some form of evidence at the very least. And it also gives us a few opportunities and leads to go on.
Indeed. I understand.
I
Continue.
will secure this evidence in the cargo bay under strict supervision, unless otherwise ordered.
Very well. I will inform the captain of your findings. Please continue with your investigation as you see fit.
Yes, sir. I'm going to instruct the security officers in the hall to do what I just said, to secure the evidence and put it on under lock and key so we know where it is. And then I'm going to Lieutenant Rix to Councillor Duncan.
Councillor Duncan here.
Please meet me outside of Cargo Bay 1. I've received some directives from the captain regarding our Nausicaan friends.
Understood. I'll meet you there.
Rick's out.
Yeah, we'll
Commander
stay with
Ricks.
you.
What new directives have we been given?
Well, the captain has arranged for these prisoners to be transferred to a Klingon ship in a short while. And we are to make a, well, somewhat of an ultimatum to them. Are you aware of the theory of prisoner's dilemma?
Yes, it was covered in psychology classes.
Well, the captain has instructed us to do something similar in this case.
I
See
think
if
it
one
would
of them
be.
breaks.
I think in these circumstances, it would be better to speak with them all one by one. Perhaps if one of the security officers could take them to me.
I agree. I will make sure they come to you one by one, and no one of them overhears your conversation with them. I will also make sure that their cells are soundproof so they cannot speak to each other during this process.
Wise precaution. I can head to my office and be prepared to receive them there. If you are able to make the arrangements.
Of course, I'll send them to you when you're ready.
I'll communicate to you when I am ready to receive. And the counselor will return to his office.
So Rix will go into cargo bay 1 and do just what he says. He'll soundproof all the cells so the prisoners can't talk to each other, and then he'll arrange for each Nausicaan to be brought to the council one by one.
All right. We'll bring the first one to you. We'll just call that a separate room. And I'm sure the security officer will kind of push him down in the chair, and he is very much just looking at you defiant.
He'll motion to the security officer. You can wait outside. I can reach you if I need help. So, I'm not sure if you've heard the news. The captain has made arrangements for you all to be transferred to a Klingon vessel. It seems that your lot has caused them a great amount of grief.
Finally showing the weakness of the Federation, huh? Don't have the common decency to kill us yourselves. You're gonna make the Klingons do it.
Well, I'd rather not get my hands too dirty.
Clearly.
Was the pay of all this worth it? It would be a shame if you didn't get to reap the benefits.
You know what this ordeal has taught me? It has really shown me how weak you and your Federation are. You may have got us today, but trust me, soon, very soon, you and your Federation are going to be brought to its knees by your weakness.
Well, our weakness is your lucky break. I'm making you an offer. If you agree to cooperate and provide the information that you have, enlighten us on this situation. We will not transfer you to the Klingon ship, and you will not spend the rest of your days, which I'm sure would be relatively short, in a Klingon penal colony.
You think your idle threats worry me? Say what you will about us Nausicaans, but we're loyal.
And he'll just tap his console at his desk. Con, this is Counselor Duncan.
Who's that to?
The con officer of the bridge.
Khan here.
Just wondering, what is the current distance between us and the Klingon ship Kaltok?
And 3 light years at present.
Thank you very much. Counselor out. It is no mere idle threat. But if you don't want to cooperate, I will simply ask the next crewman.
As I said, you'll be hard-pressed to get any of us to talk to you. Now, if we're done with this idle chit-chat, I would like to spend the rest of my time here in silence.
We are more than happy to arrange that. And he'll tap his communicator again to the door chime outside. Security, please bring in the next Nausicaan crewman.
Yes, Counselor. The next one they bring in is one that even you can tell is like barely an adult. You know, very young, maybe late teens, early
Right.
to late, mid to late teens, you'd say.
He'll thank the security officer again. Please have a seat. I just got finished a productive chat with your colleague.
Look, I got nothing to say to you.
But I have something to say to you. If you are not already aware, we are only 3 light years from a rendezvous with a Imperial Klingon ship, and we will be transferring all of you over there for punishment by the Klingon justice system. I'm sure you were aware of what that entails.
Give me a presence command roll. Difficulty 2.
Okay. much momentum? I'll spend 3 momentum for 4 dice.
Gain 1 back. And when you mentioned the word Klingon, you could kind of see all the defiance and all of what you've come to know as the lost Nausicaan ego fade out of this kid very quickly.
I imagine spending the rest of your days in a Klingon penal colony is not what you had in mind when you signed up for this scheme to make money. But there is an alternative if you're open to hearing it.
What's that?
If you are to cooperate and provide us the information we need, we will not transfer you over to the Klingon vessel. As you have seen, the Federation treats its prisoners well. And you will not be detained for the rest of your life.
What is it you want to know? I don't know that much.
So, out of character, just because I was, missing for a lot of this. So we're trying to find out, like, who was paying them to attack each other. And to make these shipments.
Like ultimately, who are they working for? Who are they getting the money from? Why are they going after the cargo of the freighters and such?
Right.
Do they have a contact they report to? Something like that.
Well, if Rix wants to come in, I have a benefit, or I have a traits, an ability, psychoanalyst, so, or insightful guidance, so you get a psychological profile on this guy if we interrogate him together, which is a positive trait.
Let's do good cop, bad cop.
The counselor will turn again to the Nausicaan and say, if you answer the questions truthfully, to our security officer and myself, I will speak to the captain and have it arranged that you are not transferred to the Kaltak.
You
only have to provide us what you know.
Trying to give you some rolls here. Give me a presence command, diff 1.
Okay. I'll spend a momentum for a third dice. Would you take composure for focus? Or psychology?
Yeah. I'll take psychology. I think you're very much trying to use that while talking to him. Ruh-roh.
Yeah, I don't have a reroll unless it's medicine.
There's always values to get the determination.
Would you take the value information is power?
I will.
There we go. So that's... Sorry, it's still just a full reroll of 3 dice for the second edition?
You could reroll any of the dice, so it could just be the one you missed, or the 2 you
Okay.
missed.
I'll reroll the 2 I missed. Focus. Determination is spent. There we go. 2 momentum.
I'll try to I'll try to tell you what I know, but please don't send me to the Klingons.
Just wait here for a moment. I'll return briefly, and he'll just step outside of his office and tap his comm badge. Or is Rick's right there?
Yeah,
I'm
he'll,
not sure
he'll
where
be right
it's-
outside.
Okay.
He'll be right outside.
Well, Rix, I think I have found a potentially cooperative member. He seems fairly young and is very nervous about the idea of being transferred to the Caltalk.
Excellent job, counselor.
Hey, you have more information on the situation than I have. I propose that we do a joint interrogation, and hopefully we can fill in the holes in this story together.
Lead the way.
He'll reopen the...
So I will just narrate this just to kind of, I'm trying to do a little bit of time saving here. You probably have interviewed about a dozen or so Nausicaans until you found this one. Just to kind of give you guys the lay of what's happening here. This is the first one that was receptive. I obviously didn't want you to interview 12 people, 12 to 15 people until you got here. But so we did a little bit of a time crunch. But
the counselor will step back in and say, tell me, what is your name?
giving me hard jobs. Give me 1 second. I am Dranik.
Dranik, I am Lieutenant Francis Duncan of the Akatsuki, and this is our security officer, Lieutenant Commander Rix.
So, Mr. Dranak, you do not want to spend your entire life on Durapenthe, I hear.
And he'll just no. Please don't send me to the Klingons. I'll try to tell you what I know. Just don't send me with.
Be cooperative, and that will be just what happens. Now, let's start.
I'm just a lowly crew member, but I'll tell you what I can.
That is all we ask. Now, let's start at why did you attack the civilian freighter?
We were paid to. We were paid to attack any ships in this region that were carrying medical supplies.
Who paid for these attacks?
They just go by a code name. I don't know who they really are.
What's the code name?
They just sign everything with Phantom.
How regular was your contact with this Phantom?
Anytime they had a job, they would for us. It was always from them. Even the last few days, they've been paying us more and to do specialized jobs. Like they just paid us all 20 bars of gold pressed latinum not to talk to you.
When was your first exchange with this phantom?
Just recently, when we were told not to talk. That's the only information I've had with them. But I've heard all the other crew member talking about them, about receiving orders, and the captain has said that that's who we'd work with.
Yes, and when did the phantom make first contact with you? Not
With
you personally, with you as in the Nausicaans.
A few months ago, I think, when we first came to the sector. Yeah.
Talk to me about these specialized jobs that you were ordered to. You mentioned one. Were there others?
Our engineer was asked to blow up the warp core and then make it to escape pods. But my friend got orders to kill the navigator, but he was no match for the navigator's skill. He was disintegrated.
The phantom ordered you specifically to kill the navigator.
Not me, my friend. But he didn't make it.
How much was this payment for?
4 bars.
How do you receive these bars of gold pressed latinum? Do you pick them up at a location? Are they sent to you?
There's typically a dead, I think they called it a dead drop.
Where?
I don't know. We're just promised payment in these dead drops.
And you've never collected payment?
I mean, I think we might have a couple of times, but I just scrubbed the Deliphian matrix. I don't know anything about ship operations.
Do you dock at a station nearby regularly? For maintenance?
Yeah.
For restock? For these
Yes.
possible dead drops?
That's where we drop off the cargo we get.
Which station?
It's they just call it the Veil.
Who operates this station? Have you been aboard it?
I haven't. But I think that's where the Phantom is.
Where is this veil?
You don't understand. It's not stationary. Every time we have to go to it, it's at a different place.
Has it ever left this sector?
I don't think so.
I take it you don't know what this ship looks like, or the veil looks like.
Mm-mm.
How long did you stay before you left the veil?
It was never for long. We just drop off the cargo. They'd look for the dead drop, and then we were off on a new assignment.
Tell me more about the victims of your raids. Who else other than this civilian freighter have you attacked recently?
It's been many ships. cargo ships, shuttles. If it's operating in this sector, our orders were to attack it. Specifically those that were carrying medical supplies.
Was there any specificity to what the cargo was, or simply general medical equipment?
The orders were just for medical equipment. Whatever we can get.
And the targets were specified, or just random vessels that were in the area?
Sometimes they were specified targets, but most of the time we were left to our own devices. We come across a ship. If it looked like it had a good medical supply, we'd raid it and take it.
Tell me again how you made contact with the Phantom. Does the Phantom contact you, or does your captain contact the Phantom at any point?
The Phantom contacts us. I've never heard of any of us ever speaking with the Phantom. Ever.
I see. Just gonna look at Duncan, see if he has any more questions.
He'll just sort of subtly shake his head.
Well, thank you, Mr. Dranak. You've been very helpful. We might have some follow-up questions, but as long as you tell us everything you know, you have a deal.
Does that mean you're not going to give me to the Klingons?
The Federation honors its word.
That means yes, Mr. Dranak.
And you both definitely can see the relief in his eyes at that.
I will make sure not to mention any of this to your colleagues. Not that you're able to anyway, but for your own safety. We'll bring you back here if we have any more questions.
You can't send me back into them. They'll know I talked.
We'll make sure you're protected. Don't worry.
If you bring me back in there, they'll know, and they'll kill my family. You can't bring me back in there.
I'm not going to, Mr. Dranak. You'll have your personal private brig, I assure you.
And he'll just nod.
I'm just gonna nod to the to the counselor to just walk to another bit of the room so the Nausicaan can't hear us. Well, counselor, well done.
To you as well.
I'm going to put him in our actual brig, separate from everyone else. So he's separated from everyone. Do you agree?
That does seem logical. They will certainly know, considering the rest of them have been offered that deal, that he has talked with us based on the length of his absence.
Yes, and his answers have shed a whole light of things that's going on, even though there are 1,000 more questions to be asked. However, I believe I understand what's going on in this system.
It's a faint trail, but a trail nonetheless.
Not so faint as you might think, However, following up on it, that's going to be difficult.
Indeed.
We should report all of this to the senior staff. I'll make sure our guest is taken care of, and I'll join you on the bridge.
Of course, I'll compile my notes and be ready to brief the captain when you're finished.
Again, well done, Counselor.
Thank you. And Duncan will go back to his office to get what he needs.
Rix will go with a security officer and get Dranak secured in his own personal brig space, separate from Cargo Bay 1.
I mean, the Intrepid does have its own brig, so you could probably just put him in
Yeah.
there.
Just make sure that there's no one else in the brig with him.
Right. All right. I think Captain did say something you wanted to do, so I'll actually bring us to the ready room. Rix, were you done? Because I think all that can happen.
Yeah, I was done. Yeah.
Okay. And then Duncan, you didn't have anything else?
Nope, nothing for me.
Okay. Captain will bring you to your ready room since you said you wanted to look up something.
Yeah, I
give
want to
you
look
the
at
floor.
who Growl is. Real? Hill? Real, right?
Real. How? Tomato at this point. It's probably with 2 L's, to be honest, but I got to check my notes. I guess the question is, were you looking them up?
Well, our Shoringi friend is currently I'm a TNM, so I'm gonna have a chat with him.
Give me 1 second to find the token. I just wish I could resize these so I could put it in.
Hey, GM. Quick question just to confirm something. Was Mahak on the bridge by the time he received Rix's report?
Which report?
About the cargo containers being stasis units for drugs?
Probably.
Okay. So did the captain overhear that piece of information then? Or do I need to report it to her in her ready room?
Just for ease of argument, you guys probably all know the information. If Rich reported it, probably everybody knows at this point.
Okay. Just checking.
Captain! What can cracks do for you?
Yes, I was hoping you could help me find a certain individual. She is, from what I could tell, a Ferengi merchant, goes by the name of Grill.
Grill. Captain, give me. I gotta think of what his role would be really quick. Reason? Diff 2. Presence Command Diff 2.
Take a threat. Persuasion for focus.
Yep. Jesus, look like you got 2 floats. Grill. You know, I think I do know a Grill. In fact, I think I noticed he was around recently. What do you
Oh,
want to know?
I would like to know his location and or a way to get a hold of him.
That might be difficult to come across, Captain. From my understanding of Grell, he doesn't exactly let slip where he is.
Uh-huh. And
But I might be able to give you a list of his known contacts, though. Would that help?
that would be a start.
And he starts typing, he starts playing around with his little console. So, how are things?
Challenging.
Aboard
I'm
the-
actually quite busy.
Oh, I'm sure. This will just take a moment.
Okay.
Let's see. Yep. Aha. Here, I got a few names for you, Captain. It will take time if you need any more information, of course. I mean, I am trying to pull from all my databases and contacts. Yep. I think that's a good list. A lot of these I gotta confirm because there's some on here. I mean, there's a chief petty officer on this list who I think associate.
He wouldn't happen to be on Starbase 321, would he?
I will use that for one of your questions.
Yes, for one the bonus.
You know, it looks like he is. It says here that this particular officer can be bribed. Who would have knew? Who would have known?
Thank you very much for that information. I believe that's it. So thank you very much for the information. You have a good day.
Oh, send my regards to Commander Ricks if you don't mind.
May I ask why?
Oh, just sending my regards. Nothing to worry about. I can assure you.
Okay, I'll let him know.
But if I could give you this full list in a couple of days if you still need it, Captain. There's a lot in here, I can tell you that.
You know, how about you send the list over to Captain Nolan when you see him, when you arrive at Gimulon 5.
That I can do, Captain.
Gives you plenty of time to work on it.
And believe me, Captain, this will be the most comprehensive and complete list you have ever seen. That you can count on.
I'm sure it will be. If you excuse me, Drax, I have to go.
Oh, of course. You said you were busy. I understand. I'm here if you need me.
And she closes the comm channel. And I guess you'll head to the briefing room.
I will probably say that the briefing scene will probably be the last scene. Just because we are at 4 o'clock already. All right, so all of the senior staff come to the briefing room all armed with their individual pieces of information that hopefully you guys can draw some similarities and comparisons to start coming up with a plan. At that point, I will leave the floor to you.
Given some of the information we found, I want to get everyone's thoughts on potentially what is going on here. I did find out that there's a chief petty officer at Starbase 321 that has been being bribed to help hide certain shipments with a Ferengi merchant, Gorel. Unfortunately, Gorel is a very hard individual to find. There also leaves this supposed phantom individual that seems to be pulling some of the strings behind this curtain.
Captain, I have a somewhat of a summarization and hypothesis on what is going on in this system, if I may.
By all means.
Well, from our interrogation with the Nausicaan Dranak, we now know that someone calling themselves the Phantom came into this sector a few months ago and made deals with the Nausicaans in the area to raid cargo ships, shuttles, and other types of freight ships. The targets were sometimes specified, but mostly randomly picked. The cargo of the ships raided most of the time consisted of medical equipment. After the raids, the Nausicaan rendezvoused with some sort of mobile ship or structure in this sector called the Veil, most probably commanded by the Phantom themselves. Nausicaans transferred the raided cargo and then received their payment. Now, I do have the speculation that the Phantom might also have made contact with, going from the information we have about the Orion, that the Phantom might have made contacts with Keldran and similar agents to make sure that specific cargo, such as the advanced medical equipment we found raided from the freighter, was being transported in this sector and then henceforth raided by the Nausicaans, so it could be delivered to the Phantom. Now, the slight problem in this speculation is that the Nausicaans most recently had a specific bounty for Keldran to be killed during this last raid, so I might be in error on that point. However, going by the information we received from the Ferengi, overhearing conversations between Nausicaans and some strange party, I believe it could be hypothesized that this unknown party might be the Phantom. And the Phantom and the Nausicaans were talking about drug manufacturing, which is among the types that these medical equipment are being used for. So somewhere in the system, the Phantom is creating some form of drug. To what end? I do not know. For what purpose? We do not know. What the drug is and what it consists of remains unknown. But I believe there is where we can find the next leads that might lead us to this Phantom.
He's saying the medical equipment was specialized.
Yes,
Captain.
the doctor can speak on that fact.
The equipment, while originally just generalized storage or generalized long-term storage for various medical odds and ends, has been purposefully specialized for the stabilization and stasis of chemicals. It's containers for drugs and medicine. I couldn't tell you which kind of chemical goes in them. The parameters are complex, and it would take a long time for me to research just based on unused containers.
No, it doesn't seem like these attacks are random. And given the fact that this Grell person is moving specifically a bit while not illegal, seems to want to cover their tracks greatly on it. Personally, I have a hunch that Grell and this Phantom character are working together. Could be that they are silencing anyone that they work with in the lower levels when they no longer deem them to be useful.
That would explain why the Noskin Raiders have been blowing themselves up.
It might also explain why the Orion had a bounty on him. He might have no longer been useful, or known too much.
I believe it was indicated that this Phantom person moves around some sort of ship or mobile station.
Yes, what the Nausicaan referred to as the Veil.
I believe Commander Kane was able to isolate the location of where the veil might be, which is in a 5 light year area. This is in 3 different systems.
Correct. Yeah. At first, I thought it might be a series of relays. I guess it still might be. Yeah, it seems like most of the communications are commonly coming or at least passing through this specific region of space. And he'll pull it up. I'm assuming, on whatever the view screen is in the conference room. As Captain said, looks like there's no Class M planets in the area, but there are other planetary bodies here. But based on everything I was able to find, it looks like they all pass through this area. In addition, looks like there were 3 unexplained ship destructions in the sector. The codes that I was able to see that were passing through this relay system contains a unique identifier on each one. Phantom's Touch. Looks like they were also attempting to send many of these messages to the Nausicaan ship, presumably to either trigger the self-destruct mechanism, or they actually did trigger it. We just prevented it from going off.
The Phantom was covering its tracks. In this case, they failed.
We do have a couple options here. We know the petty officer, that who is at 321, and we might be able to exploit that. We also have Kel, who is on the list for this Grail individual, which I think is maybe our best odds to locating, at least understanding who the Phantom is. Another option is to head towards that area and begin searching for a ship. The issue we'll have is the ship is constantly moving, so our odds of finding it are low. I am asking your thoughts and any recommendations on how we should proceed.
Captain, it is true that we are in an area, or just recently passed an area, which contained a lot of sensor jamming, correct?
Correct?
If I were the Veil, that would be the perfect place for me to hide. A further investigation of the area might prove useful, or at least lure out the Phantom out in the open.
I would imagine if we began investigating the area, their preferred tactic would be to either go silent and try and wait us out, or to move out of the area as undetectably as possible. I doubt they would come for us.
Perhaps not, but they would be forced to move. And that might be the opportunity we need to get some sort of sight upon him. Or her. Or whatever this is. Disrupting their operations is the way we're going to lure them out eventually. Whatever we do. In this case, making them come to us rather than we going to them.
Perhaps we start in-house with the chief petty officer. It would draw the least suspicion for us to arrive at a starbase.
I'm not sure drawing least kind of suspicion is what we want to do. I think we want to do the opposite. Make ourselves known.
Yes, but if we
Become
do
a
so
target.
too early, they may simply go to ground, as it is called. When hunting in the forests, the Klingons make as little noise as possible until they are upon their prey.
Well, for my part, there was an old Japanese saying that I was always a bit of a fan of. Beat the grass to startle the snakes. If you don't know where people are hiding, sometimes making a little noise can cause them to slither out of their hiding spots. At least now you know where they're going. I, for one, like the idea of causing a bit of a ruckus and making some noise, seeing where these people spread to.
One thing that has me worried. It was another thing that our friend Krax said during your interrogation with him, Captain. And that is that he overheard that this unknown party, presumably the Phantom, were willing to traffic people to get the resources they needed to make the drug. We should perhaps make inquiries in this area if there have been reports of missing persons. Something that could substantiate this mention of trafficking people.
GM clarification, is it 621 or 321? 321 I think is really far up there.
Yeah, I couldn't get a good look at a complete star map.
Because 61 is near Zinkethi space, which borders Federation.
Yeah, it would be the one that's close to Zinkethi. Yeah, it's just on the other side, right? Yeah, it'd be that one.
I had written down that the freighter departed from Starbase 362.
I gotta hold on.
But that might not have been the same place where Krax came.
Kier, you don't happen to have that full Federation map of this sector, right? Because on our Starbart chart in the game, it's not. It doesn't zoom out far enough for me to look.
And no, but the only ones that are like in range of this area is DS9.
No, it's this one. It's Starbase 621. Starbase 621 is the one that should be referred to. 621. Yeah, the one with the petty officer, the one that the freighter got their goods from. That's the one. Let me send it to the star map really quick so you guys can see where that is. Just so we're all clear on the numbers. And then their path took them this way around St. Kathy's. To where you guys are currently. So if there's any questions about the path the freighter take, what starbase, those were it. Make sense for everybody?
Yep.
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 Yeah, Kira has like a more detailed map.
Ooh, nice.
I don't know if it was from the first edition book or if it was like another one. I don't ever know what happened to that. I was trying to reference it and I couldn't find it. Continue.
Bye.
Close the wrong thing. All right, but I believe you guys were in the middle of roleplay, so continue.
What are your orders, Captain?
Heading to 621 would be far outside our reach. Venomahawk, notify 621 of the corrupt petty officer so that way they can conduct a thorough investigation. Hopefully, that will turn up some leads onto where he is currently getting essentially his bribery money from. And we will set a course for the region where we believe the veil to be at. Hopefully, we will launch some long-range probes into 3 nearby systems, and hopefully we might be able to uncover that vessel, or at least smoke them out. Once the Klingon vessel arrives upon our location, we will transfer all the Nausicaans over to the Klingons and have the Klingons make sure that our other Nausicaan friend is set aside somewhere else safe. And the rest of his brethren. They'll be later transferred to the Tiamat.
Understood, Captain.
Any questions?
No, Captain.
Doctor, I would like you to do a little bit of research on any missing persons.
Of the medical profession?
Yes. This
I'll
should
see
be
what I can dig up.
documented. If there is not anything else, you're dismissed.
Yes, Captain.
Yes, ma'am.
That was meant for everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything else anybody wants to do before we close out this session?
No?
All right. Then we'll call that the end of Ghost Protocol.